I'm Tyquira, and welcome to the I Wanted This to Exist podcast video thing. I don't know what I'm doing here. We have a sign. I don't even know if that shows up on screen. Like, it doesn't look like it's showing up very well. Okay, so I turned 27 years old a few weeks ago, and I wasn't feeling too hot about it. It was the first birthday that I had where I genuinely just didn't look forward to it. I feel like my life has really become that Pride and Prejudice meme. You know, like, I'm 27 years old. I have no money and no prospects. I'm already a burden to my parents, and I'm frightened. I feel like just this time last year, I was in a much better place mentally. Like, I feel like this time last year, I just felt a lot more hopeful, and I just don't feel that way anymore. Anyway, so one of the ways in which I decided to try to make myself feel better is I made a list of all the things that I have accomplished and all the things I've learned and all the things I'm grateful for and all the things I'm looking forward to. And as a result, I actually started to feel better. Like, I genuinely started to feel better. And now I guess I'm just like sharing these things with you because yes, my life may be a mess, but I have learned things, I have gained things, and that makes me feel better to know that I have gained things. Like, I do still have wisdom to share with the youths, but I don't even feel 27. Like, I remember being like 15, 16, 17 and being just like, yeah, like 28 sounds like a really good age to get married. And like 28 to me feels like such like a big ass adult even now, and I'm turning 28 next year, and I don't know like how to feel about that. Like, I'm so far away from getting married, it's not even funny. In terms of this list myself, I tried to go for advice I generally don't see on these things because I am personally obsessed with like learning from my elders. So like every single video I've seen where it's like, this is what I'd tell myself if I was 21, I've watched every single one of those because I'm obsessed with like listening to my elders. So I tried to go for advice that I generally don't see on these lists for that specific purpose because I just don't want to repeat myself, particularly because like I know that anyone who's watching this, I know for a fact that you've probably seen a lot of these videos. Am I wrong? Which leads me to number one on my list, which is that most of the stuff that you see on these lists are absolutely correct, but you shouldn't be watching or listening or reading them all the time. I totally just messed up my analytics. People are going to exit out. But you know what? I just like want to save you some time. Yes, you can learn a lot from these kind of things, these kind of lists, but you shouldn't be watching them all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I am a very big researcher. I love to research things. And as a result, I almost use researching as like a way to procrastinate. I'll end up with like 20 tabs open. I'm reading everything, I'm listening to everything, and I tell myself, okay, I've gotten all the information I need. Tomorrow I'll go out and live my life. And then tomorrow comes, and then I just end up reading and researching all over again. Like it becomes a form of procrastination because I'm scared. My point is that the only way to learn about something, the only way to learn to do a thing, the only way to do a thing is to go out and do it. If you want to start dating, yes, listen to other women talk about dating, but the only way to actually start dating is to go out and start dating. If you want to get really good at finances, yes, you can do a whole bunch of reading, but the only way to get good at finances is if you actually go out and make the effort to get good at finances. The only way that you can go out and learn about life is if you actually go out and live your life. Number two, empathy is a skill that you should be working on if you want to be a good person, but empathy without boundaries will destroy your life because that kind of empathy usually attracts people who have no empathy. So I'm a highly empathetic person. I feel things very strongly. I generally try to always understand the other person's perspective. And one of the commonly cited reasons I see for why people don't want to become more empathetic is because they think that that means that people will stomp all over them. And all that tells me is that you have no boundaries. They believe that just because I feel bad for somebody, that means that I would let that somebody do whatever they want to me. And like, no. If a person treats me badly, like bad enough, I will walk without a second thought. My ability to understand them and empathize with them and see where they're coming from does not mean that I am going to stick around and justify their behavior. But I've found personally for me that trying to understand a person's behavior, trying to understand how they came to that conclusion and why they did what they did has made me a better person. It's made me a kinder person. It's made me think of how my actions impact others because I have thought about why the thing happened in the first place. And if you're somebody who's like, oh no, I could never empathize with the people that hurt me because I would never do the thing that they did, or I would never hurt somebody in the way that they hurt me, I've got news for you. We've all got a monster inside of us. We've all got a monster inside of us. All of us are capable of acts of great cruelty. And I think one of the easiest ways to fight that monster inside of us is to try to approach it with compassion rather than I would never do that, because you don't know. Like, you don't know what you would do under just certain circumstances. And besides, most of the time when people do bad things to people, it usually means that they were treated badly in their past by other people. Usually. Not all the time. Like, some people they're just the way that they are. They were told at some point, whether indirectly or directly, that it's okay to hurt other people because they themselves have been hurt. Hurt people, all that jazz. And here's the thing, unpacking your own hurt and empathizing with other people does not mean that you have to keep the other person in your life. Absolutely not. Again, like, you should walk, but it will help you navigate relationships with the people that you want to keep in your life and the people that you love. That will help you because it's all about just trying to understand it from the other person's perspective, which is very useful when you're trying to handle issues with friends or family or romantic partners. But that just leads me into number 3, which is don't try to intellectualize other people's behavior towards you, particularly bad behavior. You're just going to end up gaslighting yourself into thinking that it wasn't a big deal. But Ty, didn't you just say that you should try to empathize with other people and their bad behavior? Yes, but there is a limit to this, because sometimes the answer is literally just like, they're a bad person. They don't care about my feelings. That is sometimes the answer. Like, being empathetic doesn't mean that you sit around and obsess over the potential reasons why, and then you forgive them in the end because they've had a bad childhood. That's not what that means. Again, empathy without boundaries will destroy your life. I spent years of my life trying to understand my dad's bad behavior towards me, my biological father's behavior towards me. And the answer is literally just, he just sucked. He just sucked. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that if I dug more into his past, they'd be like, oh, he had a bad childhood, etc. Whatever. It's this bad thing happened to him. But he just sucked. That's the bottom line. Like, the bottom line is he just sucked. And he also thought that his feelings were more important than mine in that situation. And that's exactly how we ended up having the terrible relationship that we ended up having, is because he thought his feelings mattered more than mine, his literal child. How I felt in that situation mattered. And I'm not just going to spend the next 40 years of my life trying to justify why he did it when he just quite simply didn't care about the damage that he was causing. And I'm not going to let other people gaslight me into thinking that he actually cared about me. I'm not going to let that happen because, well, the proof is in the pudding. If somebody acts like they don't care about you, the answer is probably they don't care about you. Or at the very least, they don't care about you enough to do anything about it. And honestly, genuinely, who cares? Who cares why somebody is doing a bad thing to you? Who cares? And again, empathy is a good thing, but there comes to a point where it actually doesn't matter why a person does something if they're going to damage you. How you feel matters. How you feel matters. And it doesn't matter if your partner had a shitty childhood, if they're treating you like crap. It doesn't matter. Again, boundaries. Empathy without boundaries will destroy your life. And speaking of boundaries, number 4, sometimes it's okay to let boundaries fall because it reminds you of why they were there in the first place. And usually if you let a boundary fall, that means that there was something going on in your life. Last year I slept with someone that I absolutely should not have slept with, mostly because I have pretty strong boundaries about that kind of thing, and I let them fall. Quite simply, I let him push them until they broke, and I put up with that bad behavior. I'm fully copying to that. I'm not letting him off the hook because he ended up being a really hurtful person and a careless person, but I'm taking responsibility for my part in that. But anyway, I've been looking back at the reason exactly why I did it, and it's simple. I was lonely, I had low self-esteem, and it felt like at the time like he was the only person I had in my corner, or he was one of the only people that I had in my corner. And I felt like I just had no other options. And now, looking back on that, I shouldn't have said yes to him. I should have, like, stepped back from that relationship, because I ended up feeling like a cum rag, basically. And that's basically the whole reason why I have such strong boundaries around that thing in the first place. Like, the whole point of the boundary in the first place is because I don't like feeling like a cum rag, and I only want to be with people who are committed to treating me like I'm not a cum rag. So what can I do about this so this doesn't happen again? For one, I can foster good self-esteem within myself. I can build up a community of people around me so I don't feel alone when I'm going through that. And I can do my best to not be with somebody like that again. And also forgive myself for doing that with somebody that said all the right things at the time. Anyway, yeah, the boundary was broken, and I got reminded of why it was there in the first place. And I'm just trying to forgive myself for that whole disaster of a situation. And that's how I'm doing it, is that trying to see it as a lesson, even though I'm really tired of life fucking lessons. I'm really tired of them. I don't need any more. Number 5, you're not tired. You just need to eat better food, and you need to go outside more. No, not supplements. I mean food. I mean actual food, like vegetables. Healthy eating, being healthy is very easy. It's very simple. Unless like you have like a disease of some kind, unless like you're chronically ill, it's very easy. Literally fiber, fat, and protein, and like you're good. Like that's it. Like as long as you're getting enough of those things, you are fine. And also just like go outside more. It'll make you feel better. Even just like a 15-minute walk. I promise it'll make you feel better. Number 6, an apology without accountability, understanding, and effort. Just words. It's just words. I've gotten a lot of apologies from people, unfortunately. And most people give very bad apologies, mostly because they don't follow it up with any sort of accountability or effort. And most of the time, they're more sorry about the reaction that you had rather than the actual thing that they did. And they're not interested in taking a look at the thing that they did and evaluating it and asking themselves, hey, like, why was I okay with that? Like, why did I do that? Because there's usually a reason. This is not me saying that you should never forgive people and that you should never give second chances. In fact, one of the things on this list is about second chances. This is me saying that an apology is only the beginning, and it's usually what happens after that makes or breaks the apology. And this isn't just like, if an apologer doesn't understand why the behavior hurt you, or what exactly was the cause of them behaving that way, then it's pointless. It is pointless, and you'll just end up being back there again in like however long. And honestly, like, people who can take accountability, people who can actually make effort, people who actively work on solving the problem, those are the people that you want in your life. Those are the people that are worth keeping around. And you should try to be one of those people. Number 7, you can have everything in common with a person. You can really like a person. You can really love a person. But if they can't handle you bringing up issues, like if their response to you having issues is either them blowing up or them shutting down, you can't have any kind of relationship with them. You can't be friends with them, and it can't be a romantic partnership either. Having any kind of relationship, whether it be platonic, familial, romantic, having a relationship with a person like that is nearly impossible, because they don't take your feelings seriously. They don't respect you as a person. It's all about their ego. And this especially applies to people who are emotionally volatile or emotionally distant. Like, emotionally volatile people will get angry at you for bringing up a problem, and emotionally distant people will just like shut down and pretend that the problem doesn't exist. And in both of these cases, they'll just like wait for you to drop it, and then you guys can just like move on until it comes up again. They don't actually want to fix the issue. They want to keep the peace by any means necessary, even if keeping the peace hurts you. And again, for actually fixing the problem, the best solution to any problem in a relationship is one where both of you can win. Like, and this is like something that's like absurdly simple, and honestly, it makes your relationship stronger. It's the situation where you both compromise to some degree, but you both walk away happy. Because the thing is that in most healthy relationships, and that's the key word here, healthy relationships, most of the time, issues are caused in the relationship from both sides. And if both people are well-meaning, you all shouldn't have a problem sitting down and talking about it. So, like, let's say that I had a friend who never shut up about her boyfriend. Like, she had a friend who never shut up about her boyfriend. This isn't a real example, by the way. And every single time I saw her, it was just like boyfriend, 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 boyfriend. And I eventually just got really tired of it. And I brought it up with her and I was like, hey, I don't really like talking about your boyfriend. Like, I don't really like hearing about him. And her response was, well, the reason why I always talk about my boyfriend is because he's a big part of my life. And honestly, I'm just kind of trying to fill time because you don't seem to be actively trying to continue the conversation. Well, the solution to that is not for me to like blow up at her. The solution for that is for me to be like, okay, I will try to add to the conversation more if you try to like cool down on the boyfriend talk. We both win. We both compromised. She gets what she wants. I get what I want. Everyone wins. The people that you are in relationships with, and again, this is any kind of relationship with, should want you to win and you should want them to win. And if on either side you don't want the other person to win, just walk away. Just walk away. Number 8, if a system isn't working for you, the solution is to get a new system, not force yourself into that system. And getting something done in an unusual way is better than it not getting done at all. And literally screw anyone who looks at your system and thinks that's weird. Like, it works for you. That's what's important. Like, one thing for me is that I have reminders in my phone to remind me to text my friends. Like, I'll see my friend and then I'll put a reminder in my phone as I'm leaving. It's like, make sure to text this person in 3 months just so like you can check up on them. And the reason why is because I have ADHD. I will forget and I want to stay in touch with my friends. That's why. This also goes for things like medication, particularly medication related to mental illness. If you need it, you should get it and literally screw anyone who thinks badly of you. And you also don't need to tell them. Like, it can be like your little secret, you know? And this is just like from my observation. Most of the time, if you are working within a system that is not working, it's going to negatively impact every single facet of your life. It's going to make you angry. It's going to make you frustrated. And like, honestly, I think it'd just be better if you just put a reminder in your phone to text your friend, you know? Like that, no one needs to know. Number 9, the whole world is going to be ripping you apart. Don't help it. So a few years ago, I was talking to a teacher and he said something to me that I don't even remember what the context of the conversation was. And he just said to me, Ty, there's like so much work out there for conventionally unattractive female actor. And I was just like so in shock at the time. I don't even remember what I said. I don't think I said anything back to him. Which, yeah, as an actor, I expect people to comment on my appearance. That's unfortunately part of the job. It was kind of just so out of left field. And I'm not telling that story to like villainize my teacher. Again, he didn't mean anything bad by it. My point is that the whole world, literally the whole world is going to rip you to shreds, even well-intentioned people. And there's no point in trying to help it. Like, sure, if I lost the 2,000 pounds that I've been desperately trying to lose since I was 7 years old, if I lost that weight, I'm sure I probably would get more roles. I'm sure I would get more attention from men. I'm sure that, you know, people would think of me as beautiful. The thing is that I haven't yet, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to, because again, I've been trying for like 2 decades at this point. And the thing is, the past 2 decades, all I've done is hate my body and hate how I look. And I've just been tearing myself to shreds. And even when I've had moments of like confidence in myself, like it almost like comes to a halt. The thing is that I feel like I do better when I'm like in those moments of confidence. So I may as well feed those moments. Like, I may as well be nice to myself, considering the fact that the world is not going to. And besides, I don't think a person who hates themselves is like that attractive anyway. I just realized like how tired I look. Like, Jesus. Number 10, making new friends is like dating. It's going to be really awkward and it's going to take a lot of effort to find your people, but ultimately it is worth it. But just know that there is going to be a period of awkwardness for a while. I'm currently in that position right now. I've been trying to make new friends and reach out to old friends. Like I said, I didn't have much of a community around me last year. And yeah, it's been uncomfortable. I won't lie. It's been very uncomfortable in certain cases. I've spent a lot of time questioning myself and wondering if I'm saying the right thing and if the other person likes me. And then I just like want to crawl back home and just lay in bed and just do nothing. And then I remember how lonely I was. But I do have a lot of moments where I'm worried I come across as like desperate or stupid or boring. And, like, it's unfortunately just part of life, Unfortunately, the only way to be loved is to be known. And so you have to be known by a lot of people to be loved. Or maybe not a lot of people, but you need to be known. You need to make yourself known to people to be loved by them. And this does mean that you do have to make the first move a considerable number of times. Speaking of friendship, number 11, most romantic advice can also be applied to other relationships, but particularly friendships. To a lesser extent, of course, but when you look up all of the advice that people have for keeping your romantic relationship alive, it's things like communication and effort, and both of those things can be applied to your friendships. Like, you will have a much easier time keeping a friendship alive, and you should want to keep a friendship alive if you are making active effort to keep that person in your life. Like, if you can have like a mandatory date night with your partner once a week, I don't see why you can't have a mandatory date night with your friend like once a month. And in general, we depend way too much on things like school or work to keep friendships together. And it makes sense why this happens, why we make friends in those situations, because, like, we see each other every day. But also, like, you're in the trenches together, you're struggling together. But I'm going to be honest, most of the friends that I've made through things like that, I don't talk to very often anymore. One thing I really do suggest is that if you can try to emulate that in the trenches feeling, whether it's like through like some kind of challenge, like that's really good. So like, for example, like I have a book club with my friend and we talk about books once a week, and that's like kind of kept our relationship going. And I think that is honestly like kind of recreated that like in the trenches feel, like we're reading this book together. But there are other things you can do. Like you can be like, I want to go on like different hikes, or like we both decide to put like $50 in a bank account every month to go on a trip next year or something like that. My point is that plan activities, something to actually do. Don't just like go to dinner, like experience life together and then go to dinner. Number 12, give your friends grace when they make mistakes. Like if you would forgive the guy that you've been sleeping with for 6 weeks for this slight, why aren't you forgiving your friend of 6 years for this slight? But I'm a big believer in taking some time before you give the person a second chance. Just speaking for myself, like when I get hurt by friends, I'm a person, it's like I want to fix this immediately. I immediately want to go back to the way that it was before. And this is what led to me accepting some really bad apologies over the years. And sometimes it's not that serious. Like sometimes it is really not that serious. Sometimes it is just like, I'm sorry, let's hug it out. Don't do it again. But other times it is that serious, and you should take some time, because taking some time can help you see the bigger picture. And sometimes the bigger picture is just quite simply not worth saving. Number 13, you should floss more. Yeah, you should definitely floss more. Yes, it sucks. Your gums will probably bleed, but let's be real here. They're probably bleeding already. But here's the thing, it gets easier and gets better. And if you are one of those people who like really likes popping pimples, I'm not like, but if you're somebody who like really likes like the satisfaction of popping pimples, I will say getting the gunk out from your teeth is addicting and it's very satisfying, and I'm never going back, because what do you mean I've been carrying that around between my teeth for like 27 years? Like, what do you mean I've been just like walking around with all that gross stuff in between my teeth? But yeah, you should probably floss more. Also, if you're like me and you hate the dentist, like bonus, you don't have to go to the dentist as often. Number 14, how a person treats anyone is how they treat everyone. You're not special, you just haven't earned their disrespect yet. This kind of goes along with the premise of like, if they wanted to, they would, which like, I'm not saying that's not like a good guideline, but it's not like the rule, like it's not as black and white as I think a lot of people would like to think that it is. Like, how many times have you not done something that you wanted to do? And like, don't tell me it's because like I actually didn't want it. No, you did actually want it. You just had your reasons for not doing it. And let's be real here. A person can care about you and still treat you like absolute garbage. Now, this doesn't mean that it's justifiable. This doesn't mean that you should stick around for it. This is not me saying that you should stay with your terrible partner. What this means is that they still believe that they care about you even while they're treating you like garbage. Another thing I really just dislike about if they wanted to, they would, is that I feel like it almost puts the blame on the person that's not being treated well. Like, well, you're not good enough to be treated well. When like that's very rarely how it happens. Most of the time, if a person treats you like crap, they will treat the next person like crap. And if they treated the last person like crap, they will treat you like crap. And this is not me saying that like people can never change. People can change. Most of them won't. But you are not going to change because like you magically met like the perfect person for you. If a person has cheated on every single one of their partners up until now, they're not going to magically become a person who doesn't cheat just because the person that they're dating is amazing. My point is that people don't magically change overnight just because they've met the right person. People change through conscious effort over time, through their habits. Number 15, one of the easiest ways to improve yourself is to surround yourself with people who emulate the qualities that you want to have. So if you're somebody who wants to work on their discipline, surrounding yourself with disciplined people will make you more disciplined. If you're somebody who wants to work on their empathy, surrounding yourself with empathetic people will make you more empathetic. Number 16, when you start dating someone new, you should make a list of all the things they do that annoy you, and the minute that you look at that list and go, yikes, walk. And I mean every single thing. Every single thing that they do that annoys you or just like sets something off inside of you, every single thing. The beginning is when they're supposed to be putting their best foot forward, and if they're annoying you already that much, they're not the person for you. Number 17, you can't do everything. There will always be experiences that you will not be able to have. There will always be sacrifices that you have to make. You can't do everything. You will always have to sacrifice things to get the things that you actually want. And that's why it's important to understand what you actually want so you can prioritize that. Also, this may be a very hot take, but I think in the age of social media, and considering the fact that a lot of us Gen Z and younger millennials were raised in this concept of like, you can do whatever you want to be and you should have fun in your life and you should always have fun and like your job should be fun. I think there's this narrative that you need to be having fun all the time. You need to be at 100 all the time, and like you need to be constantly out there and making sure that every moment counts, and it just is exhausting. And I think a lot of times we're doing it not necessarily for ourselves but for the validation of other people. So yeah, you need to figure out what you actually want to do, what's actually important to you, what do you want, and that is how you will actually find fulfillment, not by doing everything but by doing the things that you actually want to do. Number 18, small talk is important. You need to do small talk to get to the deeper stuff. Like, I see a lot of people bitch about small talk like it's this like super horrifying concept, and like it's really not. All it is the prerequisite for an actually interesting conversation down the road. Like, to get to the deep ocean water, you have to swim through the shallow ocean water first, or you have to fly over the ocean. The point is that you have to get through the shallow ocean water to get to the deep ocean water, whether that's by swimming or by flying. If you're bad at small talk, honestly, for me, I'd start on working on your confidence. Try to make conversation in regards to like the actual area that you're in. So like make commentary on like the restaurant that you're in, and also just like act genuinely interested in the other person. Like ask them questions. Asking them questions is the easiest way to get them to talk, and so you don't have to talk and fill the space. Put the pressure on them is what I'm saying. And yes, it sounds boring. Sometimes it is, but you can stumble into some genuinely interesting conversations this way. Number 19, writing down what you feel grateful for and writing down the things that you like about yourself will make you feel better. Particularly like if you're spiraling and you hate yourself, yeah, it will make you feel better. That's like how this list came to be. Yeah, I'm sorry. You get to focus on what you have, what you actually like about your life, what you actually like about yourself. But also, if there are gaps that you can see, that means that you can actually see them. You have like something you can actually work on. I think that like when we hate ourselves, we just get so caught up in like actually just like hating ourselves rather than like actually like looking at the thing that's actually missing from our lives. And by making a list of all the things that you like about yourself, it's almost like you're showing yourself the gaps, you know? Number 20, your mom was right. It is the damn phone that's making you feel terrible about yourself. So you should probably get off social media. Yes, I understand the irony because I'm posting this on social media. Like, it will make you feel better to get off the phone. I've been trying to get off the phone, to get off TikTok, to get off Instagram, to just like log off because I find myself feeling very intense emotions all the time, and I just don't think that's good for a person, and I'm already an intense person, so I feel like social media is just like cranking it up to a level that like it wasn't healthy before, but now it's like super unhealthy. I also just find that like every single time I log on to these platforms, I learn about a new thing that's wrong with me, and I don't want to do that anymore. Also, people on these platforms are so mean. Like, people are so mean for no reason. I'm just like, did we all not go to kindergarten? Did kindergarten change since when I went, which is 2002 to 2003? Like, has kindergarten changed that much? I hope not. Wait, was it 2002? 2003? I'll figure it out later. My point is that your mother was right, and I'm sorry. I know I'm as furious about it as you are. Number 21, details matter, and you should pay more attention to them. Most of the time when I get complimented on something, it's usually in regards to like some specific detail that I put in there, and people really appreciate details, and it makes everything feel very wrapped up in a little bow. And this can apply to anything. This can apply to your outfit. This can apply to your makeup. This can apply to a work project that you're doing. This can apply to a personal project that you're doing. This can apply to how you interact with your friends. Remembering little details and paying attention to little details, even if you cheat in a couple of ways. Like, for example, I have a master doc in my phone where I just like every single time my friend says that they like something, I write it down in there. So like when their birthday comes up, or like when I see something that like reminds me of them, I can like check to see if they've ever said that they like that kind of thing. But details matter. Like, details really matter, and like they help. Also, people really love it when you remember their partner's name. Just saying. I'm just saying. Number 22, the way that you live your life is not a democracy, and the more that you give to people, the more they will take. In fact, people will take regardless of how much you give. You can literally give nothing and people will still take. So you may as well live your life the way that you want to live it. Like, literally, just like protect your peace, whatever that looks like. Whatever that looks like, protect your peace, because your life is not a democracy. However, it's important to have a couple of people here and there, those opinions you do take into consideration. Like, just like if you have just like a little list somewhere in your mind, or whether it's physical or in your phone, of like people those opinions you actually care about. So for example, like people those opinions I care about are like people, those careers I want to emulate. People those opinions I don't care about, internet trolls. Like, your life is not a democracy. My life is not a democracy. Like, this place is not a democracy. It's a dictatorship. I do what I want. Don't live by anyone's rules except your own and the government's. You should probably live by the government's rules. I mean, I live my life according to what 12-year-old me would want. So, and I can honestly say, like, I've had my best time since I've adopted that mindset. I listened to so much Justin Bieber, you guys, particularly 2012 Justin Bieber. Number 23, you should always assume that people like you until they've explicitly given you a reason to make you think that they don't like you. Like I said, I'm terrified of being known. I'm always so conscious of every single thing that I do and how people react to me, and that usually ends in me acting absolutely insane and crying in the bathroom. So it's working out great for me. It's because I'm not perfect and I hate it. I would love to be perfect. I would love to be perfect. I would love to be perfect all the time. And before you go, oh, you're imperfectly perfect. No, I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect, flawless. I want there to be nothing wrong with me. But I am not perfect, unfortunately, and I need to get over myself and invite people to hang out if I actually want to make friends. And they don't hate me. They just have their own lives, and I am not the center of their world, which is a good thing. That is a fair thing, to not have me be the center of their lives. But, you know, I just need to not think about myself that much, because most people are not thinking about me that much. Number 24, healing should be taken seriously. Life should not be. You can still go out and have fun while you're on your healing journey. Life is short, but it's also horribly long. To quote Jenna Marbles, don't spend all of your time smoothing out every single imperfection that you have to like get to the good parts. The good parts are already happening. The good parts can happen now, okay? You can do both. You can multitask. I believe in you. Number 25, you should make friends with a lot of different people, but particularly older people, and particularly older women. Meeting a lot of people, and I mean meeting people as in like through friendships or through dating, can help you figure out what you want in life, because it helps you see what is out there. I think this isn't me saying that like you should like approach like dating with like an abundance mindset, just that you should really use it as a time of experimentation. This is something I'm doing right now. I'm having a blast. But older people, older women in particular, are generally thought to be like invisible by the population. And the thing is that a lot of them are actually like really cool, and having older friends makes me feel better about getting older. Like, yes, I do have a lot of anxiety over the fact that I'm 27, and I feel like I've accomplished very few things in my life, and I feel very much like the Pride and Prejudice sound. But, you know, having older friends and seeing the way that they live their lives makes me feel better about getting older, because they're just living their lives. Like, they're just living their lives. Number 26, you can be the main character. You can be the main character, but you need to understand that the main character is the one who usually gets humbled the most, and they're usually the one that go through the most, and they usually apologize and learn to be a better person. They don't just go through life not caring what happens to the people around them. Like, if you have an I'm the main character mindset and then not working on actually improving yourself outside of, like, making more money, you're not the main character. You're like the weird side character that watches as Belle goes on to marry the Beast. You're one of those girls that runs after Gaston. That's right. I think you are one of the people from the small town. Like, you're basically just like the side character who watches as the main character actually betters their life. Like, that's all you are. Like, do you really want to be that? Do you really want to be that? No, you can be the main character. You just need to actually work on yourself. Number 27. Make a lot of stuff and do a lot of stuff. Make a lot of stuff and do a lot of stuff. And if you're scared of making a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff, remember, your life is not a democracy. But also, nobody cares. Literally nobody cares. You're thinking about yourself way too much. Like, I promise you, you're not that important. Like, you are not that important. And before you got all depressed about that, like, smile. You're not that important. Nobody's paying attention to you. In fact, that's actually, like, pretty fun. Nobody's, like, writing news articles about you. I mean, they could be, I don't know, your life. But, like, you're not that important, really, at the end of the day. I also want to, like, always think of, like, Taylor Swift, which is that, yeah, sure, Taylor Swift may do cringy things, and, like, she may, like, write songs about, like, relationships that were only, like, 3 months long. But the thing is, like, who's winning in that situation? Like, who's winning there? Taylor is the one winning. Like, sure, people are laughing at her, but she's laughing all the way to the bank, But nobody caring about you means that you can do whatever you want. You should do whatever makes you happy, whatever brings you joy. And I'm trying to get back to that. I posted a video on my birthday, which was 3 weeks ago now, on my other channel about how scared I am that I've gotten so old, and not done anything. That's what that video is about. And I still don't know how to feel about it, but honestly, making it did make me feel a lot better. And I put it on the internet, and I may regret putting it on the internet because I feel very vulnerable and I feel very silly. Like, when I watch it back, I'm just like, I feel very silly in this video. And that's a good thing because it makes me realize that my feelings, while valid, are not facts, and I can change that, and I'm not out of time. I mean, unless I get hit by a car tomorrow, then I guess I am out of time. Like, voicing my feelings and putting those feelings in that project made me realize how insane I was being. Anyway, so those are my 27 things. In terms of other thoughts about this is the first birthday I've had where I genuinely didn't look forward to it. Like, I woke up, like, absolutely sobbing, and I cried, like, several times throughout the day. I keep telling people that I went to the beach. I did not. I stayed in my house all day and just cried. Yeah, a lot. I guess I just feel very directionless right now, and I can't, again, like I said, I can't stop focusing on all the things that I haven't done. And, like, I was supposed to be very thin and very famous at this point, and I am neither of those things. But making this list did make me feel better. So anyway, happy birthday to me. 3 weeks later, literally 3 weeks later to the day. I'm doing okay. Anyway, I'm Tyquira, and I wanted this podcast video thing to exist, and this was episode 1. And I do plan on making more episodes. This does mean that. I think I will have to outline that with a darker marker. And I'll see you next time. Bye!